Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Usha.
Let's start episode 174 of Ask Vidas and Usha podcast. This question was sent by Russell. He writes, how to make sense of the chords in the third movement of Messiaen's Messiaen in order to learn them fairly fast. Oh, this is a very famous movement, right, Usha?
Yes, it is.
And very interesting question. I've played this piece a number of years ago, and it's a fantastic movement. I think I've even recorded a video of this performance from St. Paul's United Methodist Church in Nebraska, Lincoln, on the Gene Bedian's organ. Remember that recital?
Yes, I remember it.
And I think one of the comments I received from one of the YouTubers was that I shouldn't teach people because I play with mistakes. That was really funny because yes, in one of the passages I made a mistake or two in this particular movement. So then the question is how to make sense of the chords. Obviously, Russell has to be familiar with the modal system that Messiaen is using, right?
Yes.
And the best place to get familiar with this is his treatise, which is called Technique of my Musical Language, which is in French, Technique de mon langage musical. Forgive my French pronunciation. I can add a link to this treatise on the description of this conversation, so you can click and check out it. So basically, in this book, Messiaen writes out his influences, rhythmic influences, modal influences, even Gregorian chant influences, bird calls influences, and Hindu rhythms and other things, right, Osha? Let's suppose Russell has read a chapter or two from this book where he would find information about the modes, right? What else?
Well, that's the thing, I have, read quite a few books actually about Messiaen's compositions, about his compositional techniques, which is basically consists of, imitating bird singing, the modes of limited transposition, added note values, and some Hindu rhythms, some Gregorian chants, influences. But basically, I don't think it helped me to learn his music faster. Maybe it helped me to understand his music better. But when working on the music itself, on his texts himself, I think I still have to struggle quite a lot.
Me too. It's not an easy technique.
Yes.
It's not an easy writing style because he was so original at the time. But what helped me was really to study the modes one by one. And by studying, I mean is playing a scale based on this mode from the note C with my right hand only in an octave, a range of 1 octave, then in 2 octaves, then in 4 octaves, then with the left hand up and down, then 2 hands up and down, and treating this mode just like a regular C major scale and getting familiar myself with it, and then transposing it from the note C sharp, and then from D, right? And then from any other note that it's possible, because they are modes of limited transposition, and you cannot transpose them endlessly.
Yes, since you reach a certain point, you cannot transpose them anymore. That's why it's that title, modes of limited transposition.
And then you could play scales of double thirds or scales of double fourths or even six in each hand, just like regular warming up exercise you would find in Hanon or anywhere else.
But what about that particular, Ascension piece? What would you do with those chords?
Let's say you take an opening. Remember, you have a big, I think, chords at the beginning, and then you have to decipher those chords, which means you write down on the staff the scale based on those chords, right? And you find out what the mode is then.
But technically, would it help you to apply it to the keyboard?
It helped me, yeah.
And you played with mistakes, yes?
Yeah, I'm famous for playing with mistakes. But that doesn't stop me from playing, you see. And the person who makes the most mistakes wins. Always, because they try the most. And Russell can try the most also if he try to transpose those opening fragments, or in the middle, whenever he's struggling, wherever he finds difficult spots.
Wouldn't it mix him up even more and would make things even harder?
Yes and no, because Messiaen himself transposes fragments of his modes in the same piece too, in several spots.
So then why just not, to exercise more, to work on those spots, hard spots more?
That helps.
In various tempos, in a slow tempo first, and then, move tempo ahead a little bit, and maybe, to practice in different rhythmic formulas.
Dotted rhythms.
Yes.
Reverse dotted rhythms.
Yes.
You're right, it would help. But you see, what you need to do if you are Russell, you need to understand how the fragment is put together. You have to basically deconstruct it. And by creating a mode, right, a string of notes, ascending string of notes based on those chords, would help you to understand which mode of limited transposition Messiaen is using at the moment. And then you see, oh, it's a second mode. Oh, it's a third mode. Oh, maybe it's a fourth mode, you see? And maybe even label them on the score with pencil.
Yes, but it's very much time consuming, don't you think?
What's the rush, Osha?
I don't know.
We have all the time in the world, I think, right? And we are not competing with anybody, right? We are not competing with Messiaen. He is dead already, so may he rest in peace. And we are only competing with ourselves, right? What we achieved yesterday and today and tomorrow, maybe, if we live. Anything else, Osha, for ending? For parting advice for Russell and others who want to study Messiaen?
Well, be patient. That's a hard music to learn.
And if you have never played Messiaen before, don't start with L'Ascension, right?
Yes, start with La Banquette Céleste. That's, I think, the good piece to start.
Or maybe Apparition of Eternal Church.
Yes.
Apparition de l'Église Éternelle.
Although, we both use extremely slow tempo, but I think that's a good way for beginning to start to learn Messiaen.
But don't play diptych, right?
Yes, it's just a second piece that Messiaen composed to the organ, but it's very hard.
Osha has special memories about this piece.
Yes. And, I don't like those memories.
It's more similar to Viern's style than to Messiaen, I think.
I know, when I had to learn it like in a week or two and to play it in master class, that's what's an awful way to do.
Okay, guys, we hope this was useful to you. Please apply our tips in your practice and send us more of your questions. We love helping you grow. This was Vidas.
And Osha.
And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.